Own show on ABC TV, Arlene Francis.
And on my left, a gentleman whose column Surfboard appears in this week's magazine and who is leaving us for a long lecture tour for 6 weeks all the way to California. Dear Mr. Bennett Cerf.
Well, one of the things I'm going to miss most while I'm away is being on this show, because it's great fun. And I think one of the main reasons it is that we have, and you see him on my left, the smoothest and most ingratiating panel moderator in the business, Mr. John Charles Daly.
Thanks very much, and let it be understood he's not going to lecture all the time. He's going to vacation out there, too. We hope he has a nice vacation. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. Once again tonight, we have some nice people who've had the decency to get some very interesting occupations and bring them over here on a visit. We hope that the occupations are both interesting and tough as far as the panel is concerned, so that our guests will have some fun and some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later on. But let's let the experts meet the first challenger they have to spot. Will you sign in, please, ma'am? Janet May.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
Yes,
What are you nervous about?
oh.
Huh?
Nothing really, I suppose.
Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Well, then you've got nothing to be nervous about. Where are you from?
I'm from Mission, Kansas.
Mission, Kansas?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we've had anybody from Kansas for a long time. There's a bunch of city slickers over there on your right. Will you go on over and say hello to them?
Okay.
Wow. I'll be in Kansas next week.
Oh, well, good.
Hello.
Hi. Mrs. May, will you come over here and sit down next to me? Thank you. Now, I think probably you know, because the panel has had a chance to meet you, we think we ought to even things up a little bit and give them one free guess as to what your line may be. Is that all right with you?
Okay.
All right, we always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she teaches agriculture.
Teaches agriculture?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Allen.
I think she's a gym teacher, and I wish I were Jim.
I think she models bikinis.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she makes cyclone cellars.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers have another look at Mrs. Janet May, and at the same time, we will tell them what her line is, but the panel will have to dig. Mrs. May, I think perhaps you are familiar with what these cards do. Every time you get a no answer or give a no, I flip a card. And when you've given 10 no answers, you have won the game. All right, Mrs. May is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Do you deal in a service of any kind, Mrs.
Yes.
May?
Mm-hmm.
Could I come to your place of business?
Yes.
If I did do that, could it possibly make me happy? Good. Does what you do then benefit folks in any way at all?
Well, I would say that to the degree that it helps somebody in just the normal business of having to make decisions and that sort of thing, yes, it's beneficial.
Could this, could this benefit then be described as mental rather than physical?
Would you care to ask that question again?
Not particularly, no. Let me get right to the point. Is what you do educational in any way?
How are you using the term educational there in an instructive sense?
I'm afraid I was.
Yes, that would make it 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
I don't think Steve asked you if there was a product involved with what you do. Is there a product?
Yes, there is.
Is it a product that I might own?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Might Steve own one of these products,
I don't think
not.
so, no.
No.
2 down and 8 to go. If he does, he shouldn't. Let's put it that way. All right, 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, Mrs. May, if this is a product that Arlene might own and that Steve shouldn't own, may I assume, therefore, that this is something that a lady would use in preference to a male?
Yes.
Is it, now, that was a quick guess, wasn't it? Would this be something that a lady would wear?
Yes.
It would.
Yes.
Is it something, would you describe it as something of an intimate nature? Should I define the word intimate?
No, that's what I was afraid you might try to do. We'll say yes to that.
In other words, it would be a kind of apparel that would not be seen on the stage of this theater, let's say, unless by accident.
We got to have a conference.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment.
They go.
Oh, come on, cut it out, boys.
Well, actually, we have a point upon which we ourselves are having some difficulty. You make the issue of its being seen.
Well,
would
I
you
meant
care-
by that, would this be considered rather an undergarment than an overgarment? Well, now, you ought to know that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yes.
You mean this sometimes can be used as an outer garment, too?
Yes.
Handy little thing, isn't it?
Would it have any lace on it? Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
Yes.
Would it be worn at all times of the day?
It could be.
Could it also be worn at night? Could it be worn? Could it be worn when the lady slips between the sheets for a good night's rest?
Godfrey, I'm not an expert. I got to find out.
I'm glad to hear
Gosh,
that.
I'm not either.
Yes.
Well, is it some kind of a nightgown then? Or, well, no, if it's worn in the daytime, would it be something that could be considered a slip? I don't know what you call these things. I'm going to pass the jar.
Bennett, you're wonderful, because there's one word I know, and I thought you'd come on. It's the only word we men have to go to when we get into this area.
Lingerie.
Lingerie is right.
Is it lingerie?
Now, but what does Mrs. May have to do with lingerie?
Well, I'm sure she wears it, but I...
That is what we're working on.
I would think maybe she models it.
Models it, is right. Now, before I get in trouble, I want to say that I consulted with Mrs. May about this, and she said that lingerie could include the whole business of lacy nightgowns and
Well, you
lacy
wouldn't ever
negligees.
wear it on
and
the
that sort of thing.
outside, though. When do you wear lingerie on the outside?
Well, a lacy negligee. This is lingerie.
Oh, we have those on the program all the time.
Well, I must say that, Miss May, we had a lot of fun. I hope that you had fun, because we haven't had anybody from Kansas for a long time. But
Yes, I enjoyed it.
you're a real good guest, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
being our guest on What's My Line. It was nice to see you.
On your side.
And now we come to the special feature of the program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, who would be recognized immediately by our panel. So the panel has blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?